I really appreciate you, taking 2 hours, or an hour, hopefully only, out of your Sunday to join us today to talk about investing in condos. And I see some familiar faces. I see Sue, and I see Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Sean. I haven't seen you before yet, I don't think. Hi, Dinah. Hi, Dinah. And of course, we have the amazing Bill Bico with us today. I'm going to unmute him. And I think we've got some more people trickling in, which is fantastic. I'm just going to start out, for those of you who don't know all that much about me before we dive into condos, I've been investing in real estate since 2001. And I've transacted over 300 deals and over $80 million in real estate. Now, during the recession of 2007, 2008, like a lot of people, I was severely affected. In fact, I lost almost everything. And I know that sounds absolutely tragic and horrible, but believe it or not, it was actually a gift. In fact, I find my biggest advantage is having gone through the real estate recession, because what ended up happening is I became very street smart. When it came to real estate investment, that's how I came up with the brand, the Street Smart Diva. I found ways to not only survive in challenging times, but to thrive in not only challenging times, but any kind of real estate investment environment. So I find it to be a gift. Plus, it's led me to this amazing online real estate investment coaching program that I have, one-on-one real estate investment coaching, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. And I just wouldn't be here without real estate. So some of my favorite things about real estate are I can drive by, I can see it, smell it, taste it, touch it. I can move into it if I want to. Probably not going to taste it, but I can if I want to. Even if values drop, if there's financing or a mortgage on the property, eventually it's going to get paid off. That is, of course, if the payments are made. Real estate offers me and the people that I know who also invest in real estate a tremendous amount of freedom of time. It's extremely efficient. Most deals I do net me at least $30,000 or more. I know people. There are fewer and fewer these days, but I know people who they work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. And real estate, as I was talking to one of my coaching students, Sue, earlier today, we're talking maybe 3 hours a week, just depending on how much time you want to spend digging. And that is digging for deals. And real estate is completely neutral. Now, I've talked a lot about this, but I'm going to let Robin Wright Penn really articulate this more clearly. Real estate doesn't care if you have a high school education or a college education or a master's degree or a doctorate. It doesn't care if you're black or white or gay or straight. And in particularly, since obviously I'm a woman, I don't know if, for those of you who don't know this, March 14th is called Equal Pay Day, because on average, women have to work an extra 3.5 months, according to their male counterparts, in order to make the same amount of money. So I'm just going to share with you this video from Robin Wright Penn, who, and I found this to be a fairly inspiring story. So I've got a YouTube video up. I've got to unplug something real quick so you can hear it. And I might even have to minimize it a bit. I'm going to see. Here you go. Oh, why can't I hear it? You guys can't hear it, can you?
And I was like, you better pay me,
okay,
or I'm going to go public.
Oh, darn. You missed it. I'm going to replay it. Hold on, I'm going into the chat real quick. Nope. Here it is. Yay. Okay, I've got great feedback. No, then yes. Excellent. Thank you so much. I don't need to maximize the screen and get all complicated.
It's a pandemic. I mean, let's face it, right? The inequality, what women earn 82% of what their male counterparts make, kind of on an average. And you do have to shame and guilt them into it. And I did it on my show recently. I was like, I want to be paid the same as Kevin. Because it was a perfect paradigm, an example to use, because there are very few films or TV shows where the patriarch and the matriarch are equal. And they are in House of Cards. And I was looking at statistics, and Claire Underwood's character was more popular than his for a period of time in a season. So I capitalized on that moment. And I was like, you better pay me or I'm going to go public.
You go, girl. Now, I don't fancy myself a feminist. I don't. But she's talking, for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, stop. For those of you who don't know what she's talking about, Robin Wright Penn is in a show called House of Cards. It's one of my favorite shows, and I absolutely love it. And anyway, so, I say I don't pay attention to the news and stuff like that, but I do watch House of Cards, which is actually kind of a dark show about politics. But regardless, a house that makes a man $50,000 is going to make me $50,000, and I like that. I really love that, in fact, about real estate. And in case you're curious, that's why I didn't go into acting. I know you're all thinking, why didn't she go into acting? Well, it's because of the pay, the equal pay. I refuse. I'm just joking. I've never really thought about going into acting. Okay, so I have. So we're going to dive into. And next, I want to introduce real quickly Bill Biko. I'm going to introduce him a little bit more in a minute. But Bill, do you have anything to comment on when it comes to your favorite things about real estate? I didn't prepare you for this, but I really love your feedback.
It doesn't disappear. A lot of people want to really get into the stock market because it's exciting, but I've seen stocks just completely disappear or devalue like crazy. I can always go kick a house. It's always going to be there. They don't typically disappear. If they do, they've been burned down and they've still got insurance on it. And you better have good insurance on it. One of the other things is the ability to leverage the properties. If you're putting mortgages on property or doing creative financing, you're typically not putting 100% down. Values go up either just through appreciation or through time, and your money's leveraged. And again, there's always the cash flow on the back end. We've been fortunate enough to get some pretty significant amounts of cash flow over the years off of our properties, which really changes stuff up. So there's some of my thoughts on real estate for you, Julie.
I always appreciate your thoughts. Thank you so much, Bill. So going back to condos, I'm just going to share a little bit of background of how the whole 300 deal thing happened. We started with these three properties, literally the three properties that you're looking at. You can't see the middle one all that well. Over about 3 years, these properties ended up making us about $150,000. And it was great. And I could have stopped there, but what I did is I went on to purchase 33 more single-family homes, duplexes, fourplexes, even a 15-unit apartment building. All with low money down, all without having to qualify for financing, and it was great. And then after my first building, I liked it so much that we decided to buy more buildings and sell them off as condos, piece by piece. So what that means, we buy like one whole building. This is like a 30-unit building you're looking at. And we take each individual condo, so like each window probably represents a condo, or maybe just balcony. So this isn't a 20-unit complex, but regardless, you know what I mean. If there's 20 units in a building, you can separate them off piece by piece and sell them off in pieces. So we did that, and it was great because we'd make anywhere from $300,000 to $700,000 per building. And I'm telling you, we would do this in less than a month. And I tell you, people, if you want to have some fun, if you want to really enjoy making gobs and gobs of money, do that. You got to find the right market to do that in, but do it. It was awesome and amazing and wild and crazy, and we just let it ride. And the money was really, really, really nuts. But again, we let it ride. It's just like it sounds. It was a huge gamble to let it ride. It was an experience I will definitely never forget, an experience that's been burned literally into my soul, because even on a hot table, hot gambling table, that table's eventually going to go cold. And that's exactly what ended up happening, because suddenly the recession hit. The economy literally hit a brick wall, and our buyers that we were making, that were making us all this money on per building, selling them in less than a month, they disappeared. And the lending rules got tighter. So everything just absolutely stopped. So what ended up happening was, since we were flipping buildings like crazy and selling them quickly, we bought them with extremely expensive money. I'm talking like credit card money, like loan shark money. And we were stuck with them, like really stuck. And we were negative cash flowing, and I'm not joking you, $40,000 per month. So what I had to do is I had to hustle. Fortunately, I was able to refinance 100 doors all by myself without the help of a loan officer. Now, not when I say all by myself, I use the credit of my business partner, my husband, my father-in-law, my business partner's brother. It wasn't just my credit, but we refinanced, I guess, together 100 doors without, again, I did this without the help of a loan officer, just went straight to the banks. And fortunately, was able to turn negative cash flow into positive cash flow of $12,000 per month, at least on paper, on my nice, neat Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And by the way, while all this was happening, from my first property up until, the recession of 2008, I was giving birth practically every year to 5 beautiful kids. And you know what, folks, that's all that really matters in the whole grand scheme of things, not whether you ever buy a property or not. And for me, I went through a lot of tough times, but ultimately I am always able to go back to this beautiful family that you're looking at and remember that I've got them, no matter what. So, but needless to say, a lot was going on. And a lot of stuff was happening in the background of these buildings. A partnership dispute, mismanagement of funds, just an absolute mess. But what was happening was that we were suddenly holding and controlling 4 condo associations because all the buildings had been converted to condos. So even though we still, held control of most of the condos, we still had associations. And so even though there was like all this drama happening in the background and the recession and the this and the that, we had to run them properly. We had to run these condo associations properly, or as properly as absolutely possible. So what ended up happening is I had to learn really quickly about how to run a condo association. Had to understand, bylaws and what the rules were. And at one point, we had to change bylaws for the good of the building and the good of the association and the other owners in the building. At another point, we had to do a cash call. I'm going to talk about cash calls in a little bit. I'm also going to be talking about bylaws because everyone was not paying enough in condo fees. We had to do a cash call. We had to order everybody that owned properties in the building because we didn't own all the buildings. We'd sold off maybe 2 or 3 in each building. And buildings, let me tell you, are expensive to run. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I was able to take away. Also keep in mind that I had owned about 8 individual condos all along the way when we were doing all of our single family homes and duplexes and that kind of thing. So there were definitely things that came up along that journey as well that, I hope to impart to you today. And I know Bill has lots and lots to talk about as well. So when it comes to the bylaws of a condo, you want to know, are rentals allowed? If you're buying a condo as an investment property to put a renter in, you need to know if in the bylaws, and you should be able to get a copy of the bylaws, the rules and regulations of a condo association when you're looking at it, before anything changes hands. You want to know if rentals are allowed. In some buildings, rentals are not allowed. I had a client, part of the reason why she was so jaded when it came to real estate is she bought a condo in Vancouver thinking she was going to rent it out. She knew she could rent it for a whole bunch of money, but she never checked the bylaws. She bought this property, closed on it, only to discover that rentals were not allowed. And so she lost buckets of money. She was very, very frustrated. Never wanted to invest in real estate again. She actually became a coaching client. I'm going to talk about her in a little bit. But so in some cases, when it comes to bylaws, only a percentage of the building can be rented. So in some cases, maybe a 100-unit complex, they'll let 5% of the complex be rented. That means 5 units. Now, if all 5 of those, if 5 units are already rented, or being used as rentals, sometimes there's a waiting list to be able to turn your property into a rental. Sometimes there are different exceptions, but you need to definitely understand what the rules are. And in a lot of condos, but I wouldn't necessarily say most, but in a lot of condos, rentals are allowed. But you need to definitely know these rules, because it can really cost you a lot of money, and your realtor may not necessarily know, although they should, but sometimes they don't. You want to know if there's age restrictions. Is it a 55 plus building? Because if it's a 55 plus building, then guess what? You've lost a huge market, and that's people with families. You want to know if there's pet restrictions. Kelowna is it's a dog place. It is an absolute, people like dogs better than they like people a lot of the time. So you need to keep that in mind as well. If you know that most of the rental market has dogs, and you want to buy a condo, but the condo association doesn't allow dogs, which in a lot of cases they don't, especially like walk-up buildings, you want to keep that in mind if it's something that you see as an important part of, the economy, and whether or not you're going to be able to rent it easily. Now, bylaws can change, just so you know. You as a condo owner, once you've acquired a property, you can actually have a say in what happens, how the money is spent, what it is spent on. If there's a condo owner who repeatedly causes problems, you can legally do something about it. You can set up rules to make sure that the building or complex remains a great place for people to live, because that's what people want to invest in. That's what people want to live in. So if you're thinking about buying it as a rental, but eventually selling it as to a homeowner, you want to think about those kinds of things. You want to pay attention. You should definitely read the minutes from a condo association once you've purchased it. Once you've purchased the building, you want to read the minutes of the condo association meeting minutes, or better yet, attend the meetings live. That way you know what's going on. That is, if you can. And this is where you're going to know what's going on behind the scenes. You want to be proactive. You want to be part of solutions. If there are challenges going on with the building, well, it's way better to be part of a solution rather than to get maybe hit with a big cash call, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, because you never knew what was going on. We bought a condo, no money down, no bank qualified. We took over tenants that were that were in place. And we met the tenant, and what ended up happening is our tenant was very concerned about spiders in a bush outside the house. She had little kids, and she was concerned that she thought there were literally black widow spiders. There are a lot of black widow spiders in the city where I live in. She's worried about, naturally one of her kids getting bit by a black widow. So my husband, being the great property manager he is, wanting to take care of our tenant, he removed the shrub. And he replaced it with some very beautiful rocks, just a rock landscape. It was like a 10-foot by 2-foot space, really not a big deal. Well, within a couple of hours, a neighbor came screaming into the driveway, got out of her car in a huge panic, saying that my husband had no right to do that. And, the neighbor was right. And frankly, our tenant knew better. And I feel that she kind of took advantage of my husband a little bit, seeing that the nice guy that he was. But regardless, we ended up having to replace the shrubs with new shrubs. The shrubs he had taken out, he had to replace with new shrubs, buy new shrubs, cost about $300. And what we learned, of course, was that we needed to check with the condo association first, which was a $300 lesson. Not a lot of fun, but it happens. Now, I'm going to have Bill weigh in on this slide in a minute, but I want to point out that property, even though it was a pain, it was a $300 lesson, it's a well-run condo association. These people are fantastic. They're fanatics about their neighborhood. And while it can be kind of a pain because they are so, they're so picky, I'm actually glad because everybody cares. Everyone wants their properties to remain valuable. And I would rather be in a well-run condo association than a poorly run condo association. So those are just some things you want to think about when it comes to the bylaws. Bill, would you like to weigh in?
So I've owned a few condos in my days, and I've actually been acting president of a condo board for a while. We had a 25% stake in the building. We had 4 units out of the 16 units in the building. And it can definitely be challenging if you're dealing with a lot of people that don't know about buildings, which is what we ended up stuck with. And we've had other situations with other large complexes where we've had properties, and the condo boards have been fantastic. So it can be kind of hit and miss. As Julie mentioned, one of the priorities is understanding those bylaws, and as part of any purchase contract or purchase agreement you have in place, having access to all of the condo documents and previous minutes is pretty well mandatory, unless you've got some super smoking, screaming, incredible, unbelievable low price that may justify any $50,000 or $100,000 cash call that's right around the corner. So definitely always, if you're buying condos, you got to get a hold of the condo docs and the minutes, just so you can see what's been happening, what's going on, and see if there's something coming down the pipe that maybe you don't know about.
Exactly. So much to consider. Thanks a lot, Bill. Now, I also owned a property in Edson, Alberta. For those of you who don't know where Alberta is, it's in so basically next to British Columbia, which is on the west coast of Canada. Anyway, it was a great, sleepy little property that was run with a rental pool. So no matter if my unit was rented or not, the rental pool paid me something every month. And I loved this little condo. And I really loved how affordable the condo fees were, because it made it cash flow quite well. Now, about 4 years into my owning this condo, I got a letter from the condo board. They had voted to put new siding on the complex. It's a 200-unit complex. And since the condo fees had remained so low for so long, they were asking for, I'm telling you, a $17,000 cash call. Now, I was exiting out of the condo at the time, and fortunately, I was able to work it into the sale purchase and come out ahead, because the guy who was buying it from me, he saw, the $17,000 as an investment, which would make the property more valuable, which blah, 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 blah. I didn't end up having to write a check for $17,000. But other condo owners, I'm telling you, they were having to go into debt in order to take care of this expense. And it was really tricky, and it was really hard on a lot of folks. So if you're looking at a condo and the fees are quite high, it's likely that money is being put away into the reserve fund so that cash calls are not required. But this is where being proactive and staying informed is very important. There have been many, many condo associations that I've read about or heard about that have been mishandled and mishandled condo money. So be extremely vigilant. And if condo fees are quite low, but it helps your cash flow, maybe you just need to make sure you're putting away some money every month, into your war chest for a potential cash call. Well, that's also something to consider. Now, a condo reserve fund study, it's a really important document that you need to read. And as Bill mentioned, it's required in a transaction for you to be able to review it. And if you've put an offer on a condo, again, you're entitled to the study. And this is where a surveyor, basically, somebody who basically inspects the property or the complex, looks at the age of the building, the heating system, the fences, the roof or roofs, the roof system, windows, plumbing, and they basically estimate how long these things are going to remain in decent condition. So the better a condo association is run, the better the complex will be maintained. And it's just like a car. If you give it regular oil changes and take care of it, wash it, that kind of thing, it's going to last a long time. If you let things go for a long time, eventually you're going to have to put some big time money into your car because something's going to break. And the same thing goes with condos. So if you look at a reserve fund study and it's a big complex, like with 200 units in it, and it looks like the roof is going to or all the roofing systems are going to need to be replaced in 2 years, you'll know whether or not it's going to be able to be paid by the reserve fund, or potentially if you're going to be facing what's called a cash call. And that's where everybody pays a little bit or a lot, basically to repair the roof or repair the siding in my case, or sometimes everybody gets new windows, everybody gets new sliding doors, everybody gets new balconies. Again, that's exactly what happened with me. Got a $17,000 cash call because the siding never was properly maintained. Basically, the siding was wood. It wasn't varnished every year like it needed to be, and it was in a really harsh climate, being in central Alberta, where it gets pretty hot, but mostly it's really cold. A lot of the time of the year, it's really cold and there's a lot of moisture. So basically the building got worn out really quickly. Anything you want to talk about on reserve fund studies, Bill, before I get into benefits?
I think you kind of nailed it. If you see This is one of the challenges we had with a condo years ago. And it was part of these 4 we had in the building. The condo fees in the building were actually quite high compared to everybody else. But what we discovered was that nobody had been raising their condo fees as all the utility costs had been increasing and gas costs and everything had been going up. So we were ahead of the curve. And over the next several years we owned those units, our condo fees did not go up. And we saw a bunch of the neighboring condos, all of their fees were going up, or they were starting to do cash calls to try and catch up the reserve fund. So it points back to finding out what's going on with the reserve fund, finding out what's going on with the condo board and what they've been doing, and if there have been timely increases to keep up with all the ongoing costs that are out there.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. But for you to say, did you say I nailed it? I was bang on. I'm glad I'm recording this.
Yes, you nailed it. Awesome.
That I am glad I'm recording it. I'm going to keep a copy of this recording for sure. I like that. When I made this slide, Bill, I was like, oh, he's going to have a lot to weigh in on. And then you go and say I nailed it. It was great. I'm like, wow, I felt kind of smart just now, which is good. All right, so benefits. There are lots of benefits, lots and lots and lots of benefits to owning a condo. Typically, a condo is much more affordable than a single family home, that's on its own lot, at least in most markets. Usually there is less maintenance involved because maintenance, again, is covered in the condo fees. Even a bare land strata, which is it's like a neighborhood, with individual units, but everybody pays condo fees. Typically it has lawn maintenance and snow removal included in those fees. You don't have to, you don't have to worry about on a snowy day going out and shoveling the walk in the case of a vacancy. Buildings that are built under one roof, typically the roof, like even just the roof maintenance is easier because it's just one roof. It's just a matter of, I'm talking about like a 20 or 30 unit building, where the balconies are all around and there's hallways and elevators. Usually there's one roof, one heating system, one cooling system, plus a tenant can really only do so much damage to a 900 square foot or less space. So when it comes to renovations and improvements, it's significantly less. Also, in that tight of space with neighbors, on either side, if somebody's loud or damaging things or bad things are happening, somebody else is going to hear about it or they're going to smell it or, that kind of thing. So you've actually got a whole bunch of other eyes looking at your property, basically keeping an eye on your property. Rental pools are great, again, because even if your unit's vacant, you get paid some money every single month, and this will just help with your carrying costs. It's a great way to invest in multiple properties under one roof as well. I have some people in Saskatchewan. They have 7 properties for sale in one condo building because they bought it as a building, they converted it, they sold half the building, and they held on to 7 units. And it's a great opportunity for somebody because it's like low money down, no bank qualify. But another really cool thing about it is like somebody could seriously potentially just buy all 7 or 3 of them and they'd have 3 properties all under one roof. So it's kind of like one-stop shopping, kind of like Walmart for real estate. Some of the costs are shared by condo owners again. So costs for maintenance. Now with single family homes, it's all on you, all the taxes, all the insurance, all the utilities, all the maintenance. So condos, again, for this reason, can be more affordable. So that's my spiel on investing in condos. I really hope that you got something out of it. Maybe you've never considered investing in condos, and again, I hope it's helped you consider some of the things that maybe you haven't thought of before. Do you have anything else to weigh in on, Bill?
It's really important to know a lot of the rules in the area as well. So you talked about some of the bylaws and only having so many rental units available, but depending on where you are and what state or province or country, there's a lot of additional bylaws. Where I'm located in Alberta, the Condominium Act is a specific act regarding the rules regarding condos, and it covers a lot of stuff. And it actually supersedes a lot of the landlord-tenant rules. So whereas a landlord might be having problems with a tenant in a property, they have some pretty aggressive abilities to evict the tenant, and even depending on the bylaws, perhaps fine you for having a problem tenant in the building. So it's important to not just know the bylaws, but also the rules in place in your jurisdiction with condos, just to add to that. How's that?
That's awesome. That's really, really good. It gave me just enough time to change my slideshow so I can move on to my next transition.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And of course, not only that, everything that comes out of your mouth is valuable information. I appreciate it. So next I want to talk about this 5-day flash sale that I've got going on for my one-on-one coaching program. And I want to point out before we talk about anything further, we've had 2 webinars so far. And one of them has been with, it was recorded on Friday with special guest Anita Berger. She is a mobile home investment expert. So if you don't if you haven't seen it or you haven't looked at it, it's not very long and it's very, very informative. And you can find it on a link that I'm about to share with you. You just find it on my website at www.streetsmartdiva.com. Anyway, the recording is there if you missed it. And again, it's full of lots of really valuable information. Yesterday, we had an amazing webinar with the one and only educated landlord, Mr. Bill Bico. And he shared all kinds of really, really valuable information about how to maximize your landlording, your income, your business in a slower market. So definitely some gold nuggets in Bill's presentation yesterday. Go check it out if you haven't already done so. And I want to tell you about the one-on-one coaching flash sale. And it's actually a 3-on-1 coaching flash sale, which you're going to discover in just a minute. So what comes with one-on-one real estate investment coaching? Well, I'm here along with actually Bill. Bill Bico comes with a package along with my husband, Jeff Hoffman. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. We're going to help you analyze deals that are in front of you. We're going to help you look out for potential landmines that happen when it comes to real estate investments and help you avoid them. We can also help you find joint venture partners and help you with your networking and sales process, because guess what? If you're interested in real estate investment, you are interested in sales, because whether you're buying a property or selling a property, you are convincing somebody to do what you want, basically. And that is, folks, it's called the sales process. And it's really just a system. And systems enable ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. Help you with accountability and action steps to go toward your real estate goals, and help you with property management. I'm going to help you with making sure that paperwork is complete. Paperwork is absolutely key. A deal can go extremely sideways if you don't have proper paperwork in place. Now, my regular pricing for one-on-one coaching, now this is for my coaching clients. The results expected for a deal is $25,000. Okay, so once I've coached you to a deal, you should be making $25,000. Now that could be immediately with a flip, or it could be a long-term hold, 3 years, 5 years. It could happen in a couple of years, but that is typically the anticipated amount of money that my coaching students are supposed to make. I usually charge $2,500 up front, and then another $5,000 once you have acquired the property. And I usually require a 2-deal commitment. Now, return on investment for this kind of an opportunity for my regular price one-on-one coaching, it's basically a $7,500 investment. My coaching clients are expected to make $25,000, and that's a 330% return on investment, which is excellent. It's nothing to sneeze at, as my grandfather would say. Now, for one-on-one coaching, I want to point out that not only are you going to get assistance with all the things that I just mentioned, like paperwork and accountability and sales processes and helping finding joint venture partners, I get deals because I've been around. I've been networking in real estate for 14 years. I've been through tough times, and I talk about it a lot. People have heard my story, and a lot of times people will come to me and they'll want solutions. And what's really fun is to be able to pair somebody who is looking to get into the real estate market with somebody who is actually looking to get out of the real estate market, and to try and create win-win situations. A lot of these situations, it can be low money down, no money down, and most of the really, really good deals that I find are no bank qualified. And my one-on-one coaching students, they get first pick of the deals that are in front of me. I got 28 deals on my desk right now. I'm not joking. Most of them are in Saskatchewan. But regardless, I get deals that get presented to me a lot of the time. And again, my one-on-one coaching students get first pick. There's going to be group masterminding on a weekly basis, in addition to the one-on-one coaching that you have available, which is maybe an hour a week, maybe 2 hours a week. It just depends on where you're at as far as deal flow. So if somebody is about to close on a deal, we talk every single day until the deal is done. If somebody's just kind of in search mode, usually it's once a week, once to twice a week. You get, again, the one-on-one coaching. So you also get access to all my past courses that I've conducted so far. That's a value of $900. You're also going to have free access to all my future courses. So right now I am on the tail end of completing my Street Smart Seller course. It's an online real estate investment program, all recorded. Doesn't matter where you live, you'll have access to it as long as you have an internet connection, worth $750. I'm creating Street Smart Sales. The selling process that I talk about in all of my trainings just skims the surface of a selling process that everybody should have under their belt, whether they're in real estate or whether they're selling other stuff, whether they're selling widgets or hardware, or houses or cars. I've created a selling system from all of the mentors that I'm basically standing on the shoulders of giants, but I've added my own spice to my own selling system. It's worth about $400. Street Smart Networking. Networking is a science, and it can make you so much money. You have access to all the Street Smart Buyer programs, and you have access to live events. Any live event that comes around, whether you travel to it or it's in your area, you get free attendance no matter how much it costs. Now, Bill, I want if you can just unmute yourself again. Everybody has access to Bill. So, Bill, do you want to talk a little bit about your background and experience, real quick, just to tell everybody what for those of you who are here who don't already know Bill, please, Bill, tell us your background and why this is so. I'll tell them why it's so valuable. How's that?
Okay. I've been a real estate investor since the early 2000s. We bought a ton of property, my wife and I, and expanded very rapidly, very quickly. And at one point, we were managing 73 doors. And of those 73 doors, I really got into a type of property called rooming houses, where we did weekly furnished rentals. So a lot of our people were tradespeople and people coming through the city. And I was doing 53 rooms on a weekly basis. I have had around 1,500 tenants in the last decade. So I've got a lot of experience with tenants and landlording. And because of that, I have my own website, theeducatedlandlord.com, where I actually coach and advise people around the world. So I have people from Africa, Europe, Middle East, all over North America that stop in and ask questions and read my articles and take some of my courses. And I'm here to help out Julie, a person who I originally met over a decade ago. And we kind of lost touch. She'd gone her way, I'd gone my way. And we just reconnected last year, and it has worked out quite well for both of us, as we've had a huge opportunity to reconnect and talk about stuff and share information. And I've got to attend some webinars with her and share some information. And here I am again. So back to you, Julie.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Bill. Yeah, you guys, it's amazing, the opportunity. Just Bill, I said, hey, you want to be part of this? And he's like, yeah. And he's a giver, and he has such a wealth of knowledge, and I'm just so lucky that he's agreed to work with me and put up with me. I really am a very lucky person. Thanks a lot, Bill. All right, so fear, fear. I just it's really frustrating. You can know what you're doing, you can know all the systems, you can know exactly what's going to happen, how to do it. And I've worked with a lot of clients now, and it's been wonderful. But no matter how many people I talk to about real estate and about potentially, coming on board as a one-on-one client, or, just taking my online course, no matter how much they know about real estate, the benefits, there's still a lot of people who are just scared. Well, I'm very grateful to say that I have somebody on my team to help you with the fear factor. And he happens to be my husband, Jeff. Jeff has been on some of the webinars in the past. He's a renovation specialist. He has an extensive background in buildings, building supplies, again, as well as renovations. And that's because he owned a home hardware. So for those of you who don't know what home hardware is, it's like Ace Hardware, or it's like Lowe's for all my American friends who are tuning in. And he not only he owned that business, he owned it for 30 years, and he was third generation. So his grandfather came to Alberta, Canada from Poland in 1910 in a horse-drawn wagon, literally started selling pots and pans out of the back of a wagon, which eventually turned into a hardware store that his dad took over, and Jeff ran, again, for 30 years with his dad. But that wasn't his passion. His passion's always been helping people with topics like fear, like anxiety, even with physical ailments. He's worked with people all over the world through energy work. Now, everything is energy. Money is energy. Buildings are energy. Tenants bring their own energy to a situation. Joint venture partners do. How we feel, emotion, is literally translated to energy and motion. And again, the most frustrating thing I find as a coach, people, they know the tools, they know how to find the deal, and they don't move forward on a property is because of fear. So my husband is here tonight to talk for about 5 minutes about the work that he does. And so, Jeff, I see that you're there. Go ahead.
Hi there, everybody. Happy Sunday. And that's pretty wow that people are on a webinar on a Sunday. That's huge. It shows that you're committed to some kind of change in your life, committed to getting more of what you want, and not letting little things in the way, or not little things, but just being dedicated to that. So I commend all of you for being on this call. So thank you. And I think I like how Julie started this, because fear is, it just came to me while she was saying that, she said it wasn't my passion, and it wasn't. And although I was good at it, and I learned to be good at it, and I was good with people, and I had a lot of employees, and did pretty good at all of it. I really did. But in the end, I just wanted to help people. So sometimes at the expense of my business, I wanted to help people, right? I wanted to go above and beyond, which didn't necessarily making the best financial decisions or profit decisions, right? Because I was more about people than I was about profit. So what came to me about that is why didn't I, get out of that and get into energy work sooner? Or why did the path turn out the way it did? And it's not that anything is wrong with the path at all, because it's perfect. But what I'd say the reason was that I worked 60, 80 hours a week. Why the business owned me, I didn't own the business. Like, it's nice to say I owned a home hardware, but I knew the truth. I knew that next day I had 4 estimates somehow to get done by noon, and I didn't know how I was going to get them done. And that was day after day after day. I was always just behind the 8 ball. And the reason I didn't make any kind of significant changes was fear. The reason I didn't do something different was fear. I liked my steady amount of money I got paid every month to own the business. I liked the security of owning my own business. I liked all those reasons, but I knew my heart wasn't in it, and I still stayed there. So fear was a big part of it. So I understand fear. I think we all do. I don't want to say I understand fear better than anyone else. I don't mean that. But what I do mean is I have liked to deconstruct all of that. I'd like to learn about why we have fear and where it comes from and what it's about. And I'm going to tell one story really quick about a good friend of mine and business associate. And if you were on a previous call, this may be similar. I'm going to tell it a little differently, but it's a similar, same story. Is a friend of mine that he had a bad month very recently. He broke his leg, and he his landlord was evicting them, not because of them at all, but more wanted to sell the property. The reason she was selling the property is the market in Kelowna is on fire, and she knew she could make a bunch of money selling it. So now he had to go into some like 1-2% vacancy rental market and try and find another one. So anyways, he had a lot of fear, and plus he had a broken leg, plus some of his work wasn't working out the way he thought. So he was really kind of down on himself and questioning why this was all happening. And I'll say I kind of got a hold of him because I was kind of inspired to call him one morning, and I did, and it just so happened he had a half an hour slot where I could do my work with him. And in the end, we discovered that some of what he was feeling, I won't say all, but a lot of what he was feeling was not even his own fear. It was fear that he had taken on from his father, when he was much younger, like 9 or 11, whatever year or how old he was. But his dad had ventured out to a different province with a dream, and it didn't work out. And it was just kind of a situation that his dad would have rather forgot and never attempted at all. It was kind of looked like that. But this young boy took on that energy, all that fear that was going on or in the family unit at that time, all the doubt and all the struggle that they went through. And that fear was kind of reliving itself. It was kind of being triggered by some of the events that he was going through. So anyway, my energy work and many others that I've learned as you probably know, can once it's unconscious becomes conscious, then it can kind of have a chance to disappear and dissipate. So that's what happened. He went from a 1 out of 10. I asked him after. I said, "What were you before we started this call?" And he said, "I was a 1 out of 10. And I could barely function." And I said, "How are you now?" And he said, "I'd give myself an 8 or a 9. I'm not, there's a little room there yet, but I'm an 8 or a 9. At least I can deal with this situation I'm in and this landlord that's evicting us. I can deal with finding another place to live. I can deal with my wife that's going through her own stuff about being scared about this and the move we're making." And he could basically make good decisions again. And that's what I feel is the best thing I can offer to all of you and the students that Julie has and the clients that Julie has is when fear does that, it's just to let it be what it is. It's fear, but when it runs us, then it's time to maybe get some help or either as a friend of ours would say, either take a nap and it'll go away, or make it conscious, because when it's running you, and we've all been there, when fear is running you, it's really hard to operate and it's really hard to make good decisions. And when you're becoming a real estate investor and a lot of new stuff is coming at you, I think you'd be amazing and very different if you didn't have fear coming up. So that's where I can help, and I offer my services. I love what I do, just like Julie loves what she does. And I think because of that intention, it all really just serves well, and the right people show up. And if her course, if what I'm saying, if what she's saying resonates with you, then do it. If fear is in the way and it is, just recognize it might be fear, but synchronicity has brought you on this call. Synchronicity has got you to this point for a reason. And maybe it's to say no, but it very well could be to say yes to this, because it could be the change you've been looking for. So thank you for letting me talk about what I do, Julie, and I appreciate it very much to all of you.
You're welcome. Wow, that was really cool. And isn't he cute, everybody?
I'm cute, and I'm at so here, I got to tell people, because it's kind of fun to enter a different world with whoever's on the phone. Like Julie's in a world right now, and Bill's in a world, and I'm at my dad's cabin, but I say family cabin because it's been in the family 3 generations. It was like 1940 this thing was built. I'm across the road from it.
Yeah.
I'm across the road from it, and I left my brother's 50th birthday party to be on this call with you. And I just told people they know what Julie and I do, and I just said I'm on a call with Julie, and Troy take over for me and barbecue some wings, and I'll be back, and it's all good. So so we miss Julie being here, but I'm glad she's doing what she loves to do with you guys. So that's why it all works. So
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Thank you. And Jeff, our youngest, our 8-year-old, he just got him up on 2 skis for the first time yesterday, and I missed it. But you know what? Jeff didn't, and I got to see all the times they rolled over for the first time, and I got to find their first tooth, and I got to watch them walk for the first time. And he didn't necessarily get to do that because, again, he was working 80 hours a week. Now we don't miss stuff because, well, I missed that, but they sent me a video, and I'm okay because, like I did, I witnessed Cody walk for the first time. It's because of real estate. It's because of real estate. So I've typed into the chat Jeff's information. You know, if something's holding you back, even just from the one-on-one coaching, and you want to have a conversation with him for free, reach out to him. I put his email in the chat, or I can connect you to him. He is happy to help in any way that he can. So I'm right.
And and it would not be with the intention that you should be working with Julie and something's wrong. It would absolutely. Here's what Julie and I absolutely at our fundamental level feel is we want people that at their heart essence, at their where they're at in their heart, that they want to be making change in their life, and they feel this is a way to do that. It goes beyond real estate. It becomes growth. It becomes stretching your boundaries. It becomes becoming someone other than who you are right now. It is more about that than it is real estate. It's just the vehicle, but it is about growing yourself in the end. We grew because of real estate. It changed us more than just financially, and more than it grew us in confidence and in who we are. And we took personal growth stuff because of real estate. I mean, it's all tied together. So I would absolutely give anyone that kind of call, those amount of minutes, to just allow them to tap into their own heart and listen to whatever message is coming through. That's beautiful for me. That's the juice for me. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Okay, so awesome. I know that I want to get this done in about the next 7 minutes, but I have a couple of actually online real estate investment training students who are on the call with us today, and I've asked them. They've taken advantage of the offer. They've decided to move forward with the one-on-one coaching. So I'm gonna unmute you, Susan, first, and then I'm gonna ask Stephanie real quick just to give us a little bit, just tell us why you decided to move forward with the coaching. Because I can tell everybody why this is so good for you and why I think you should do it and why it was so great for me. But ultimately, it's about you and how real estate might impact your world. So I've unmuted you, Susan. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Tell me why did you decide to move forward?
Well, most of the investment was on the back end of the deal, which I really liked because the coach has the vested interest to see me or the other students do well. I will make a profit, so it's a good return on my investment. Olympic athletes do their best with coaches, and I think that having a coach will take me to the next level. I really like that you guys are Canadian rather than most of the real estate training is US based. So I have a little bit more, you have more experience with the local market that I'm in. I think that it's going to help me achieve my goals of the lifestyle that I want to create for myself and more freedom of time to do the things I want to do, like my traveling and some of my hobbies. I like that real estate can provide residual income with low money down. And I like the idea of the masterminds, sharing with like-minded people to help share ideas and solve problems.
Yeah, Susan has been on every online training. She's an active participant. When she signed up for it last time, she was looking for a joint venture partner, like literally to take advantage of the 2-for-1 special just to join the online course. So she's already thinking outside of the box. Definitely somebody to watch. And Susan, thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate it. And I look forward to all the success that you're going to have. Stephanie, are you there?
Hi, yes.
Hi, Stephanie. I met Stephanie back in the spring at a live event where I just did a talk, and then, I offered the online course, and Stephanie was just without hesitation. Came up, she's like, I'm in. And so, Stephanie, do you mind sharing just kind of like Susan did about why you've decided to move forward with the one-on-one coaching?
Sure. So to be honest, I'm not following you week by week because I'm busy building my own business. I'm a life coach. But what comes forward for me is that when I met you and Jeff, I'm run similar to Jeff, and so you both had integrity. And do I really want to get into real estate? At some point I do, want to go back into my own home. But for whatever reason, it's just, I'm drawn to the both of you. You could not simplify this anymore. It's just baby steps. And I know that you're going to hold my hand and walk me through this. And, it's funny because yesterday I phoned up a friend and I said, I don't know if I want to do this or not, but this is just so bloody easy to have someone. And my next home, I don't need to go through real estate agents. Not that I have an issue with them, but it's just, I can do it in a less expensive way. And to me, working with you guys, you're going to support me. You're going to hold my hand, and I'm going to feel empowered going through a process like this. And I don't know what may open. Like, to me right now, today, I don't want to be a landlord, but I know there's potential there. And it kind of gets exciting at the thought that I have more doors that could open for me. And, you guys are so networked with other people. And I just kind of look at it as possibilities rather than, I might, rent to own, whatever, but it's far greater than that. And to me, it feels like such an extended family and just huge opportunity.
Thank you, Stephanie. Wow, that's really a wonderful testimonial. I appreciate it. And Stephanie is kind of the opposite of Sue. She has watched all the recordings because everything we do is recorded. And then I throw it up on my website. It's password protected. It's only for my students. It's exclusively for people who have decided to take action and move forward. So thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate your feedback. I'm just going to go over real quickly the flash sale pricing for you, and I'm going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. Instead of $2,500 up front, is $1,250, and I have a payment plan, so it's $650 Canadian over 2 monthly installments. So essentially, it's $650 to get started. The balance at the end of the coaching fee is another $1,250 savings. It's usually $5,000. So you're saving 50% up front, 25% on the back end. And I'll show you how to get my coaching fee out of joint venture partners if you decide to work with joint venture partners, because you can. So you're going to save basically $2,500. Again, results expected after you're paid, still $25,000. So your return on investment for a $5,000 investment to make $25,000, it's a $500 return on investment, which is significantly higher than 333%, which is still massive. But it's only open for a limited time. The cart is going to close at midnight. So again, 14 deal. I've got 14 years of all this, that, the other thing. You're going to get $900 and $750 in the seller course and the sales course, networking. All the Street Smart Buyer programs, which we're just about to complete, the second one. And I haven't put in here the Street Smart Educated Landlord. Oh my gosh, that course is as valuable as it is to hold a vacant property for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. So that could be $1,000 for you. That could be $5,000 for you. Access to Bill, the Educated Landlord, and of course access to my husband and his energy work with it, which he set up. You're going to get 3 sessions with him and 3 group sessions. So we've priced it at about a value of about $450. So that's bonus stuff for you of about $4,000 plus the profit on your deal to get started for $650. All right. So I just want to share with you some quick success stories. One of my coaching clients recently Got into a no money down, no bank, low money down, no bank qualified deal, going to make about $22,000. Just worked with a client named Tyler who bought a St. Albert property, $10,000 down. He's probably going to make $35,000 on this deal. Lynette started coaching with me a year ago. She put no money down on her property and will likely make at least $40,000 on the house that she bought. Dale is a client of mine. In 2 deals, he's made over $70,000. And Samantha, she's somebody that just came on board, just put an offer on a property, probably going to make at least $30,000 on the property she just put an offer on. And Rick and Sue, this wonderful couple out of Saskatchewan, they actually hired me as a coach, and we're looking at losing $10,000. And after we work together, they're going to end up coming out ahead by $22,000. So I'm putting all these links into the chat, so you can just click on them and go right there. I've got my husband's email address there. I've got Bill Bico's website as well as his email address. And now I am putting into the chat the link for being able to take advantage of the flash sale. So be sure to do that right away. Again, it's only going to be open until Tuesday. So that's in the chat for you right now. Now, if for whatever reason you can't access it, I'm recording this, I'm putting it on the website, and all of these links will be available to you there. Or if you just want to write them down and come back and watch the recording, you can, if that's helpful. You can find about my flash sale at thestreetsmartdiva.com. What else do I want to tell you? So really, guys and gals, it's 3-on-1 coaching. You get me, you get Bill, you get my husband. And I'm telling you, my coaching business has tripled since this time last year. It is going, I expect it to do far greater than that over the next year. And so take advantage of this kind of pricing now while you can, because the busier I get, the busier Bill gets, and the busier Jeff gets, the less time we're going to have. So of course, what happens when the supply is lower? The cost is going to go up. So now is the best time to start. So thank you. Details about all of this, the recording, access to the recording, links to the webinars are going to be emailed to you. If you're not on my list, will you please chat your email? Will you please type your email into the chat and I'll put you on my list. And that way you can have access to all of this wonderful, wonderful information. Thank you everybody for being here on a Sunday afternoon. Very, very proud of you for being here. I'll stay on for the next little bit if anybody has questions. But other than that, I'm gonna say goodbye. So does anybody have questions? It's okay if you do. It's okay if you don't. You have been bombarded with a lot of information. This is kind of like that Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie where the guy's like, anyone? And I don't think so. Anyway, you have I do, Dinah, you do. Dinah, okay, hon. I'm gonna unmute you right now. Dinah, are you there? Dinah, I have you unmuted. Do you want to type your question into the chat? Because I have you unmuted, Dinah. And sometimes when I'm on these types of webinars, sometimes there's a technical issue, maybe with your computer or with your sound. It totally happens. Don't worry about it. I'm happy to look out in the chat for your question. And take your time. There's no worries. Or you can email me directly. Why don't I put that in the chat as well? It's going to get real loud for a minute, folks. Sounds like a giant in your ears. Oh, okay. I would like to know more about how you sell part of the condo rented and sold. I'd like to know more about how you sell part of the condo rented and sold. I wish I could get you on. Now, it's okay that I can't, because Dinah, email me and I'll do a Zoom video with you and we'll go over your question, okay? Okay, great. So I'm putting it in my info at streetsmartdiva.com. Just grab that email, Dinah, okay? And email me and we'll set something up. It'll be great. I don't think anybody else has any questions. Lots to absorb. What a great webinar. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mike. Mike. Hey, Mike. Thanks, Sean, for being here. Thank you, valued customer. I don't know who valued customer it is, but you are a valued customer. Al Lazar. Hello, I haven't seen you yet. Thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. You hung in there, and it's a Sunday. Wow, you're still there too. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here, and we will hopefully talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.